What a game. I am still speechless over the contest. Welcome to Zenny62 live on a very interesting and late Sunday night. That can only be described as bizarre. Period. Doesn't matter if it was the NFL and this game or Atlanta Airport, still without power for the most part, although power is coming back, and without power for something like 7 hours, or the wild New England Patriots game. But as wild as the New England Patriots game was, it was wild for the wrong reasons. This was wild for the right reasons, but we wound up on the wrong end of the stick. I'll say this. The Raiders lost a game the Raiders should have won. Period. The Raiders lost a game the Raiders should have won. Welcome. That's the only way I can describe it. It's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking to have this game turn out the way that it did. And it hurts. You know, it hurts to the core. It really hurts to the core. It was truly a microcosm of the season. There's just no other way to put it than that. I don't know, and I haven't looked at any tweets about quotes from him. I don't know what was going through Carr's head when he had a sure touchdown. And Casper says NFL's rigged. Jamal Mills says, hello, who won the game? Check the title. Check the title. Check the title. It says, what is, check the title. Title's right on there. It tells you, I hate to be it that way, but it tells you exactly who won and who didn't. One moment, please. I just got to check something here. All right, check the title. And whew, check the title. And Jamal Mills said, you didn't look my badge. Hey, that's all right, man. Oakland lost the game before a sellout crowd at the Coliseum, 20-17. And the stage was set for the 12th man. The 12th man, in Raiders' case, is Raider Nation of the Coliseum. They came through, Raider Nation came through big time. No one could say this was one of those NFL games where nobody showed up, right? Or there were empty seats here and there in the stadium, right? No, not at all. This was a full-on, full-tilt NFL battle. What we wanted, right in our backyard, national game, Sunday night. Great conditions, no rain, no sleet, no snow, nothing. Nothing to deter Santa from his appointed rounds, although that happens about a week from tomorrow. Nothing. Philosopher King says, time for some coaching changes. And Akuma says the game was rigged. I'm going to start off by this. I'm going to give kudos to Todd Downing. I know you're saying, what? But please, hear me out, okay? As one who's been a constant critic of his decisions, I have to give him mucho credit for coming out in the third quarter, actually, even before the third quarter, the last 4 to 5 minutes of the second half, of the second quarter, where the Raiders intelligently started throwing to the backside of the backfield. Lynch, Washington, Richard, that was awesome grindhouse passing. I loved it. Some might call it dink and dunk, some might call it something else. I call it grindhouse passing. I mean, it's the kind of throw that just makes you feel, we can't quite stop them, right? We thought we had them covered, right? Nah. And then down the field, 4 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards. It was beautiful. And it was the foundation of a couple of really great long drives. That should be the Raiders' offense. That should be the basis of what the Raiders do from here on out. That should be it. Ivan says, not Carr's fault we lost. We played a good game, but it didn't go our way, horrible refs. But at least we can tank the season now and get a decent pick and work with a better offensive coordinator. Yeah, number 81 does break the plane. It was a horribly officiated game. It's also, do you realize how many historic games we've mounted? I mean, 2 in one season. Most NFL organizations are lucky to have maybe 1 historic game in their history. The Raiders have a ton of them. But we had 2. We had the come from behind win on Thursday night versus Kansas City, and we had this loss. Even though it hurts like Hades, it just plain hurts. You gotta admit it was our game to lose, and that were it not for Derek. I was wondering if Derek was, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I'd like to read your comments. Do you think Derek honestly thought that he could fumble the ball out and would be considered a touchdown? Because it looked like he was confused. What do you guys think? Philosopher King says, we need coaches that maximize the talent we have. I agree. And Dell says, if we made that kick earlier. Yeah. You know, this game does come down to 1 or 2 things. That uncharacteristic miss was one of them. But had Carr scored, we wouldn't be talking about that, right? Had he just simply went out of bounds and stopped the clock with, what, 15 seconds left, we wouldn't be talking about that. Philosopher King says the touchback rule is one of the worst rules in the NFL. But think about it. It does make sense if you fumble the football in the end zone. If you are, I'm on your way to scoring, and you fumble the football and it rolls into the end zone and out, you can't call it a touchdown because you didn't carry the ball. You can't say, I carried my soul in with the ball and therefore I scored. Or, okay? You can't use the soul patrol rule. I just made that up. You cannot use the soul patrol rule, all right? So, what logical action is there to do but say, hey, look, you fumbled, it went out of bounds, opponent's ball. Touchback on the 20, going in the opposite direction. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just no 2 ways about it. Really. All right, so while the rest of you come in, hey, is Barry Lee here? Or did Barry go to bed? Octavio Arias says the ball should be spotted where the ball was lost. But that's the thing, Octavio. Why did, and let me see if I can find a photograph, a still of that. Because if I use the video, it becomes a copyright issue. So let me see if I can put a little bit of intellect to work here. Hey, anybody check out my video? Mark Davis in his box eating popcorn. Chomp. Get your popcorn ready. Let me see if I can find that. Derek Carr. If I type Derek Carr, it's Derek Carr R-liner. If I type Derek Carr in Twitter, I get Derek Carr eyeliner, Derek Carr fantasy, Derek Carr overrated. Maybe if I type Derek Carr fumble. Let's see here. Ivan says, I don't understand why we didn't just hand it off to Lynch. Hey, another question. Another great question. In fact, and doesn't it seem like we're always turning around? And when we don't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, Marshawn gets upset, and his anger turns into an unsportsmanlike conduct, penalty, or action of some kind. Otis says, the NFL wanted the Cowboys to win that game. Carr can't believe the Cowboys eked out it. I can't either. I can't either. Not that way. This has been that kind of day, you know? It really has. It's been that kind of day. Now, what I'm looking for is a photograph. It says, Derek Carr magic fizzles out with fumble in end zone. And see that title that ESPN used that I just read to you? Welcome to Zenny 62 on a horrible night for the Raiders, but on a game the Oakland Raiders should have won. I say that here. The Oakland Raiders should have won. Now, it says Derek Carr magic fizzles out with fumble in the end zone. The ball it was pushed into the end zone. It wasn't in the end zone. If you're going to write it, get it right. All right? Melvin Lovejoy. He says, Jack looks terrifically physically aged 10 years in one season. Yep, sure did. So as much as I type Derek Carr fumble, I can't even find photos about it. You know, you'd think they'd be able to find some photo here of it. Maybe, okay, here. Derek Carr. There's videos. Let me try something here. What I'm trying to do is find that one, and, you know, doggone, I should have taken it myself in preparation for this. Let's see here. Videos, latest. Okay. Coach Del Rio and Derek Carr addressed the media after the loss to Dallas. Let me see. Maybe I can get this on. And we can at least hear, right, what is being said. Okay, hold on a second. This may be something that we can... hear. Even though I can't show it to you, I can at least put it so that you can hear it, right? Even though I can't show it to you, I can at least put it so that you can hear it, right? Even though I can't show it to you, I can now, hear it, right? Okay, got rid of the echo there. So they're all waiting here. I've got it on here. It's 16 minutes. And this is what I'm looking at, folks. Right here. Take a look, okay? Right there, okay? So we're waiting for them to come to the podium. It says addresses the media after the loss, so we're waiting. So while we're waiting for that, let me go back to your, there's 3,000 comments. Say, blame the coordinator. Carr got bailed out twice. Downing should stay, one person says. Options. There's options here. Still waiting for it. Okay, there's nobody at the podium yet, so I'm going to go right back to your statements here. Blaze Guzman, welcome. Blaze says, Derek Carr was greedy. Raider Nation 101 says it hurts, but we need to strongly think about defense. I agree. And I hope this ends the whole Pagano versus Norton controversy because, look, the first half of this game, the Raiders' defense was getting chewed up. It looked like Swiss cheese, straight up Swiss cheese. And the saving grace for why that stopped was because the Cowboys didn't continue that kind of off-tackle running that I said was going to harm us in my game preview on Friday night going into Saturday morning. Akuma says, now we got to wait until next year to try and make the playoffs. There's always next year, right? What about this year? Silver Maze says, figures something like that would happen. Octavio says, negative. Malcontent says, Z, any expectation of integrity in reporting about the Raiders by establishment media is unfounded. Of course, the story is written to benefit the league. Yes. Octavio Arias says the Raiders played good defense. The Raiders played okay defense. No, excuse me. The Raiders did play good defense. All right? But I'm going to say something to you. The Raiders have always played good defense. The real culprit for the defense was the offense. And I'm saying this again. I said it before you arrived, Octavio, that Todd Downing going to a grindhouse passing game, as I call it, going to the backside of the backfield, Lynch, Richard, and Washington, was the best move of this game. It was the best single move of this game because the route combinations that he employed against the Cowboys, man for man, shell defense, just weren't working on a consistent basis. And it's clear to me that they have to work on their timing What I'm saying is that their progression from alert down to the second choice receiver to the tertiary receiver, they've got to work on the timing for that, because Carr had Crabtree open on that slant, and he dropped it. But it was just because the pass was a little bit behind him rather than about a yard ahead of him to start off where he can run and catch it, right? A little less than a yard ahead of him. That takes drill practice and goes back to the Bill Walsh way of practicing those passes, which is, documented. There's so much out there. There's almost no excuse for making excuses. Silver Maze, how you doing? Says Reggie's draft class this year has not done anything. I agree. Ivan says Gruden was interested in coming back should the Raiders go for him. Akuma says now the Christmas game is going to be pointless. Malcolmton says that fourth down measurement said it all. That was incredible and outrageous and so very Coliseum. It's one of those things that can only happen at the Oakland Coliseum. That just is the case. Okay. Still waiting for the podium. Nothing has happened. Hold on a second. Let me check its auto. See if there are more settings here. Volume-wise, it's up. So the minute they come to the podium, you'll be able to hear them. I thought they were going to be out, but they're not. I don't see anything yet, unless this is. Let's see here. We have number of views, and somebody's obviously still there live because it's shimmering and shaking, right? Yeah. So nothing has happened yet. We are waiting here. Going back to your comments. Okay. See what I missed here. Malcontent made his comments. Octavio says we are still in the hunt. We are 6-8. We're still in the hunt, which means we go 8-8. That's the best we can hope for is 8-8. William Luspo says Raiders should have found a solid wide receiver number 3. How about number 1? Octavio Arias says keep the faith. 85 Raider Nation says I have faith in God, Octavio, and not people. Raider Nation, except my mom. Raider Nation says Carr hesitates too much when deciding to run. He has a touchdown or at least 1 yard. I question Carr and his intelligence. I don't question Carr's intelligence. I question his desire to succeed. There's that thing in all of us that causes us, when we are at the touchdown's door of life, to either score the touchdown or fumble. Hey, Barry Lee, how you doing? You just got the notification. Wow. But you know what I mean? I mean, we each have that thing in us that says, I can't or I can. And at that very moment, I felt him doubting himself, doubting. And it's like, well, I can't score. Let me just do this out of desperation. Let me throw this in the end zone. It was a desperate move, okay? Octavio says, we need to win out, and the Dolphins beat the Chiefs. Yeah, and good luck with that one. Silver Mace says, what a lame rule. Honestly, that tuck rule is so dumb. Akuma says, Carr should have ran straight. Yeah. Barry Lee says, just now got notification, got that one. Philosopher King says, Zenny62, can we get your thoughts on the Steelers-Pats game? Travesty. I think the league, I saw the play finally. I thought the Patriots had won. I was at the gym watching it. I went to do the bike. And my mom called me because I'm here visiting and helping mom. And she said, hey, did you see that? And then she called me right back. And I was going to call her again. And as much as she called me to tell me that the Steelers won, then she told me about this call, and I had to see it myself. And it was the most ridiculous, made-up explanation for an obvious touchdown catch I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it takes out the idea that you can't just score and just go, bam, I got it, right? Okay, and so the ball, you scored, it crossed the plane already. You do that, and then you say it shakes? I mean, that kind of micromanaging is ridiculous. And it messes up what one has to call the WYSIWYG. That is, what you see, WYSIWYG is what you see is what you get. That's WYSIWYG, okay? What you see is what you get, all right? And if you're not that's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So if you're not, if you see there's a touchdown, it's a touchdown. If you have to argue a point like the ones the NFL front office came up with, and then ask for people to believe you, you are definitely smoking some legal ganja, which I don't advocate, by the way, but I'm saying that, hey, look, it's legal in some areas, but I digress. Octavius, he did not complete the catch. Carr's decision was questionable. Yep. Jamal Mills says Antonio Brown was messed up. Ivan says, we aren't making the playoffs. We should draft a pass rusher or a solid receiver to play the third wide receiver. I don't think it's that at all. I think that the Raiders need to settle down to an effective offense and then practice and drill that offense. I'm not sold on players. They have the players now. It's how the players are utilized, okay? So I'm not sold on that at all. I mean, for example, we have Jared Cook, who's every bit as good as Rob Gronkowski. Why don't we use him and feature him like the Patriots feature Gronkowski, all right? I mean, Cook, I argue, could be better than Gronkowski. But no. No. John Marks says, Vegas Panthers, anyone? Ivan says, Curry and P. Diddy are trying to buy the Panthers. Is that right? That would be interesting. Any thoughts on Jerry Richardson selling the Panthers? I think it's sad for Jerry Richardson to be placed into selling the Panthers in the way that he has done. I don't know the details about the case. Let me see if the league office has put out a statement right now. Still waiting for the Raiders to come. Don't have them here yet. Let me see. I'm going to the NFL media website. NFL. Okay. Wait, I'm hearing something. Wait a minute. Hold on. Derek Carr is here. Here's Derek Carr, folks.
Take us through that final play. Did you have any hope it was going to get overturned after watching the replay?
You know, I didn't know. Obviously, you always hope. I left it all out there. Just trying to win for my teammates. No excuse. I got to hold on to the ball, but the fight our team played with today, that was familiar. That looked like us. And did we execute 100% of the time? No. Did we play a really good defense? Absolutely. Played a really good team. But at the end of the day, we lost. It is what it is. Left it, but I can say that about our team is that we left it out there.
Have you ever seen anything like that sort of down measurement that they did not give you guys?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that before.
Derek, it looked like when the offense was sputtering a little early, and then when you ran that first time, you got up and you made that emphatic first time. Did you feel like something in yourself clicked at that point? Did you see things turning around after that?
No, so even though we weren't clicking, I was seeing the coverages the way I want to. Going to the certain matchups with the ball that I wanted to. We just didn't connect yet, and that was that kind of stuff's going to happen.
Can you guys hear that?
If they're lost, then we got a problem. But I knew we were seeing it good. I knew that guys were competing. So it was only a matter of time. They make plays, we're going to make plays too. So I wasn't worried. But definitely coming into this game, knowing what's at stake. I try every game to leave it all out there. Whether it's by throwing the ball, making the right checks, sometimes running today. Running, I just felt, everyone felt it, when I was able to pick up the first down. I think it was like 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7, something like that. And, that just gives our team life. And so if I can do that, I'll do it. But, again, today showed me that, that team was familiar. That I recognize that team, and it shows you that we got some real men on this team that want to fight.
Israel always say there's no such thing as a moral victory, but is there honor in a defeat?
Always, I think there's honor in everything. To be honest, you can always find something to be. I think you're saying it. I agree with you. Absolutely. There's no consolation prizes in the NFL. Only one team at the end gets to hold the trophy, and only one team feels good every year out of 32
that's
of
true.
the best football players in the world.
That's true.
And it's a tough thing to do. Week in and week out to win is tough. But like I said,
the question was, are
about
any moral
the men
victories?
in that room, my teammates, the way we fought, the way we competed, you saw guys get a little nicked up, get a little banged up, and kept fighting. That's what the Raiders look like. Now, we didn't win, so there's no feeling good or victory, but what we put out there today, no one can ever, question your manhood or anything like that.
The touchdown pass to Jared Cook that got called back. Did you get a look at that? I mean, were you looking right at it, or were you being rushed?
To be honest, I couldn't see Jared when I threw it. I saw the initial him and 50 come together. But I mean, so many times, if I told you how many times I threw the ball without seeing somebody, you guys would worry, for us. But that's the NFL. And
no,
so,
but that's what I'm talking about. It's time passing.
I didn't see him, but you know where he's supposed to be in that spot. He made a great catch and all that.
Right.
And I watched the replay again, so I was just hoping that it would stay a touchdown.
Derek, can you take us through the last play? It looked like you had a few options, like you're trying to throw it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have ran out of bounds. You had the first down.
Oh, yeah.
You decided to just go for it. What were you thinking?
It's one of those things that I'm super competitive. You guys, my teammates, my brothers, that's my kids, my wife. I try not to lose at anything. And so I had an opportunity to try and win the football game. When I was pumping, I was just trying to get the corner to buy Jared, and I was just trying to beat 38 to the sideline, to the corner, which I was able to beat him. But as soon as I stuck the ball out and he pushed, it just slipped out of my glove.
Okay, so you said it slipped.
I tried to hold on to it. Wasn't like I didn't try.
It slipped. Okay, it slipped.
But
So
obviously, there's a lot of different things. Throw it
slipped.
away, kick the field goal,
Wow.
run out of bounds. Okay, cool. We go to overtime, but
It slipped.
in that moment, I was just trying to win. For my teammates.
So I take back what I said because he wasn't.
Yes, absolutely. I just got to hold on to the ball.
He wasn't trying to.
Absolutely.
He said he wasn't trying to fumble it. It was an accident.
If they told me otherwise, then I'd say yes, sir. Move on. But that's me. I'm super competitive. I'm always going to try and win the game.
They kicked a crowd out.
Apparently says the Cowgirls know that they ain't good because then the penalties favor your team. You win by only 3. Yep. Yeah, it was.
We actually had a play called, a certain play called on the other side, and then the refs made us take him out, and then we had to change our call. Absolutely.
You said that you recognized this.
I'm sorry.
You said that you recognized this team today.
Yes.
Do you recognize yourself as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
From last year?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I see you. But the answer is yes.
When did you feel that? Was it the first run?
At the beginning of the season, I felt like me. There was a little question about my ankle going into the first preseason game.
The question was, when did he feel good? You said the beginning of the season when he felt like him.
I told you all off season, but no, I definitely, I know who I am.
Guys have any more for Derek?
Good. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think that's about it, folks. Let's see. We've got. Yep, they've got the stream ended. Okay, so Del Rio and Carr live post game. They said the video is ended. The live video is ended. So, that's interesting. I was looking for Coach Del Rio. We have. Oh, here's Del Rio. Never mind.
The difference is so little between winning and losing. That's just the nature of this game. There's nothing like being on that stage and being in the game with an opportunity like we had. Doesn't always go your way. As competitors, I think you understand that. But certainly proud of the way we left it out there, and that's what I asked them to do. And so Anyway, questions?
Jack, the last offensive play you guys ran, there's a lot going on there in a little piece of time. Do you expect Garrett to have it in his mind? Don't lose the ball at the goal line like that in that situation.
The question is, do you expect
I mean, look,
Derek to have, don't lose the ball in his mind, right? Talking about the goal line.
With his feet tonight, that was, I mean, we asked him for that. He gave it up. At the end, you can go back and say, hey, don't reach that thing across there. We'd all been real happy if he'd have reached it across there and held on to the thing while he did.
Raider Nation says we can't give Carr all the blame.
He moved
Our
with
defense
his feet
cost
there,
us this season.
made a great play.
Hey, defense wins
potentially a great
championships.
play that just, it's an inch away from being a great play. It ends up being a play that goes the other way for them. But I think going for it the way we did, and the way he did, and thought he played. It reminded me of what we saw a lot of last year. Derek played, with a lot of zest. I don't know, it just, took off and made some plays with his feet, played courageous. I thought he played well. So it's a shame. It's a shame that play just, goes an inch or two the other way, and it's a different feel right now. But I'm proud of that group of men, including Derek. I'm proud of those guys.
Have you ever seen a chain review with an index card, and I guess what was your perspective of that whole situation?
I don't want to get fined, okay? I'm not happy with the way things were done on a lot of different situations throughout the night. They did the best they could. I had a different viewpoint. I saw error. It was pretty obvious. But, again, they do the best they can with the tough job.
Have you ever seen that happen before, where they brought out a call?
Never seen error like that, and it somehow turned into a first down.
Yeah, that was
between
weird.
The ball and the
that
stick.
was weird.
That's short.
Yeah.
Okay, goes the other way. Period.
Have you ever even heard of using an index card in this situation?
I've not. Not. That's a new one. But there were several.
This is like this.
I mean,
well, actually, it's even.
there were several things that to me were. I had a hard time explaining. I'll have a hard time looking at the tape. I mean, Jared Cook runs down there and turns around the end zone. Really?
Yeah.
That's he's got a right to that space. He didn't do anything egregious.
How do you feel about the way your defense played overall? Dallas was having their way, running the ball early. But
This is one of those.
closed them off.
Yeah, it was the first drive. They ran maybe the first two drives. They hit a couple that we just settled down, and we had a good feel for what we had to do to defend them. And I thought we were ready, and I thought we did a good job of it. And we got off on third down. And I think they were 2 for 10 or something like that. So we did a good job there. We got some turnovers. We had.
Stream was stopped. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get it back.
Looks like so. The difference is so little between winning and losing. That's just they've got a good special teams unit. They won the battle tonight. We had too many penalties on special teams, and they had that big conversion there. That was a big play in the game for sure. That allowed them to go down and get a touchdown there. That ultimately that probably is the difference in the game. Because we were asserting ourselves pretty well there to start the second half.
And the second 2-yard touchdown pass to Crabtree, was that the same play that you guys did to beat the Chiefs?
No, wasn't the same. It went to the right instead of the left. All right, thanks, Will. Way to go.
All right, so that was Jack Del Rio, and from watching Del Rio, I just have to say he looked beaten down. You know, I mean, there's a lot that he's had to deal with, and he's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, okay, to begin with, and then he's faced with a season where the Raiders started off as the darlings of the league because they had, they're being promoted because, hey, look, Mr. Davis wants to put a positive face forward because he's trying to relocate his organization. Now, you would think he would want to put a positive face forward anyway, but there was a dramatic push to do that, making Derek Carr for, a few weeks the highest paid player in the NFL, and, then getting Marshawn Lynch and just doing everything we could to establish the West Coast version of the triplets, right? That didn't pan out. I remember asked, are the Raiders moving to Las Vegas next year? No, not at all. The Raiders will be in Oakland at least until 2021, if not beyond that, or 2022. The Vegas deal has a lot of problems. GOP tax bill, regardless, it has an enormous set of economic structural issues around which the fact is that the stadium tax rate is not large enough to effectively pay for the bond issue that they want to design to give the subsidy, the stadium construction subsidy, to the Raiders to begin building that stadium. That's the biggest problem of all. And it's an enormous one. So that thing is by no means guaranteed. Donis, how you doing? Donis says, unbelievable. Malcontent says, JDR, Jack Del Rio, just say what's on your mind. It would be worth taking the fine to directly criticize those terrible calls or replays. Well, I think he did, you don't have to cuss or call names specifically, but Jack Del Rio made it very clear that the whole index card deal thing here, using this, dealie, right? All right, was, and I'm paraphrasing, crazy. Okay, so Del Rio did, but no, why have a fine? What good is it going to do to generate a fine at this late stage of the game? What happens, and many of you may not know this, but I believe it's on Monday, you get a sheet. It's like where you can actually lay out the criticisms of the calls for that game. And you send it to the league office. And the league office reviews that. And what happens is that in preparation for the NFL annual meeting, which is in March, the competition committee entertains a vast number of rule changes that come from games like this. So I can see the Raiders advancing a request for a rule change regarding what happens when a ball goes into the end zone the way that did. It should not be. They would probably say it should not be a touchback. If anything, if the ball goes, the alternative rule should be this: if the ball goes into the end zone, for the purpose of that fumble, the end zone should be treated just like the ball went out of bounds. It went out of bounds, and so you replay the down where the ball started, right? That's one possibility, because a lot of people don't understand, and you can't, again, it's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, right? A lot of people don't understand why the ball has to turn over like that because it went into the end zone on its own. Okay, fine. If people don't understand that, make it simple. Hey, look, the ball went into the end zone without somebody carrying it. It becomes, no play, because you didn't score, all right? So Akuma says refs should be held accountable for calls like that. They should be fined or fire them so easily to rig games. There is a scoring system for referees, by the way. It's not made public, but there is a scoring system for referees. Raider Nation says, Zinni, do you think Donald Penn is overrated? For his age and size, no. But in general, I think that Cam Robinson, as the Raiders' first-round draft pick, would have placed Penn in a position where he was backup, okay? So, G. Taylor says the Davis touch continues. Emery Taylor says, is Marshawn Lynch going to be fined for that outburst with the refs? Yes. Silver Maze says that is about as thin as the Raiders' offensive playbook. Yeah, Silver Maze, I agree with you. Crawford says the NFL refs and rulebook had quite a Sunday. Yeah, didn't they, though? And not a good one for the league. Pedro Gerardo, I was going to check, speaking of the NFL, I was going to check and see on the leagues, to determine if the league had issued a statement regarding the Jerry Richardson situation. Hold on a second, because some of you asked me about that. And let me see if I can get you a word on that, okay? Bear with me for a second, all right? I'm typing into my account and seeing if there is anything yonder there. Don't see anything at all. Got 7 from Sunday. Injury report, transactions. There is no official statement from the league regarding Jerry Richardson. Nothing. Now, if I go to there, now I could ask. Now, if I go to teams and I scroll down to Jacksonville Jaguars, oops, excuse me, that wouldn't be it anyway, it's Carolina Panthers. If I scroll down to Carolina Panthers, what I get is the game book. And that's pretty much it. And then if I go to Panthers.com, which I'm doing right now, hey, welcome to Zenny62 Live, by the way, folks. If you want to hear the segment where Derek Carr and head coach Jack Del Rio spoke just a few minutes back, this is what you see on the Panthers website right now as I speak. Panthers to be sold. Owner, founder Jerry Richardson will sell the team after the 2017 season concludes. That's what that says, okay? Wow. That's chilling. That's what it says. That's what it reads. So, if I click on it, I'll read to you what it says. It says, Jerry Richardson, was posted 3 hours ago, will put Carolina Panthers up for sale. And here is the statement from Jerry Richardson, the owner of the Carolina Panthers right now, who brought football to Charlotte, North Carolina, and hey, look, he will be remembered as a hero for doing it because it led to the Charlotte Renaissance. And if you've ever been to Charlotte, as I have twice, it is a magnificent city. This is what Jerry Richardson said. There's been no greater mission or purpose in my life than to have brought an NFL franchise to Charlotte. The obstacles back then were significant, and some even questioned whether our community could or would support professional football. But I always knew that if given the chance, the Carolinas would rise to the occasion. And you have. The team has become an integral part of our community. The stadium is in its best condition since the day it opened, and we have played in 2 Super Bowls. Football is also an integral part of my life, and I am blessed every day that I made the Carolinas my home. I can never repay all of you for the kindness and generosity you have shown me, Rosalind, his wife, and my family for more than 2 decades. We have the best fans in football, and I truly mean that. In my opinion, we also have the best organization, and they have served us well. I believe that it is time to turn the franchise over to new ownership. Therefore, I will put the team up for sale at the conclusion of this NFL season. We will not begin the sale process, nor will we entertain any inquiries until the very last game is played. I hope everyone in this organization, both on and off the field, will be firmly focused on just one mission: to play and win the Super Bowl. While I will no longer be the team owner, I will always be the Panthers' #1 fan. With respect, always, Jerry Richardson. That's sad. You know, I don't know the specific circumstances that led to that shocking turn of events for, you know, I'm always a kind man. I don't know Jerry Richardson. I haven't had the pleasure of talking with him one-on-one like, you know, Bob McNair, for example, on many occasions, both in front of my camera and just, you know, chatting. But, you know, whatever happened, he felt it necessary to do that. And what that was, I just do not know. It had to do with this whole harassment issue that has rightfully come to pass. But what that specifically was, I don't know. I really do not know. G. Terry says, a person said today that Vegas is a done deal. I asked him if the relocation fee had been placed. He called me. He called you a name? Jeez Louise. Well, you know, there's some crazy people around, you know? I mean, anytime someone tells you something's a done deal, you're dealing with somebody crazy. Again, it's always the absolute. I'm going to call them the absolute types. They just want you to give them an answer and forget the. All right, fine. Akuma says you can't even call refs without being fired. Right. Philosopher King says the catch rule must be changed. Philosopher King also says in the Des Bryant Megatron rule. Remember that one. Silvermay says it's a stupid rule. Excuse me. He says that Silvermay says it's a stupid rule. And Barry Lee says, hey, Zinni, why do they leave off one light tower at O.co? It does glare in the player's eyes. I'll ask Scott McKibben about that, the executive director of the Coliseum. Crawford says the Jesse James rule. Rick Rice says, I hate that touchback rule. Pedro Guerrero says, we should be looking for left tackles in the upcoming draft. Hey, we could have had one in this draft. For crying out loud, you know? A great one who's on his way to the playoffs. Cam Robinson. Big April says, Zinni, will Jack Del Rio be the head coach next year, and will Lynch be back next year? Del Rio will be the coach this coming year. Marshawn Lynch, I'm not so sure. And I think it has to do with, look, you have to scale Money Lynch, all right? Spiritual leader, yeah. But then he does things that make you wonder. It's kind of like, you know, is that really necessary to do? Okay? It just makes you wonder that way. Having said that, Marshawn Lynch is an amazing spiritual leader. And I'd love to see him back myself. However, in a role where he is the specific short yardage and pass catching specialist. You know how many times have we had a situation where we say, hey, you know, shouldn't Money Lynch be carrying the ball, right? On a short, give him the ball, okay? Give him the ball. Yeah, definitely give him the ball. Hold on a second. Let me check something, folks. I just want to make... Never mind, we are cool, all right? So, Rick Rice says, haha, Cam Robinson started. Rick Rice, I remind you of that. He didn't have a horrible year. He had a rookie season, and he started and he did very well. And I think he would have done better. I think he would have done even better under the tutelage of Mike Tice here in Oakland. Jamal says, "Wow, Raider Nation fight until the end." Carr got heart. Defense, learning lesson for Carr. Raider Nation says we need corners in the draft. Barry Lee says we need a new special teams coach. Raider Nation says agreed. Draft this year was null and void. Ricardo Gonzalez says, how about my boys? Rick Rice said, learning lesson for Carr. Okay, fine. Now, moving forward to all this, where are we? We are, I believe we are at a place where the Raiders need to sit down and scheme a different defense than they have. I'm not sold on the Seattle approach. I'm not sold on the elephant. I believe the Raiders have the personnel to pull off the modern version of Al Davis' 11 Angry Men. Yeah. Man for man, bump and run, but throw in the modern blitz packages, multiple fronts, pure aggression. Not two-gapping, not sitting back and, adjusting to what the offense gives you to deal with, but dictating to the offense. That is classic Raiders defense. The Raiders are as much an attitude and approach as a brand and an image, right? Why not have that reflected in both offense and defensive design? All right? So, Barry Lee says, and when we hear about blackout, about, I don't get that Jerry Jones comment. Let's see here. Rick Rice says, we got nothing out of the draft this year. Big April says, we should also take a look at the GM as well. I think part of what Reggie McKenzie does is dictated by Mark Davis. So Mark Davis grabs a sheet of paper like this, okay, and this is what he does, and he says, okay, I need corners. He's done that, right? So if you're the GM and you don't get corners, it's a fair bet that the owner of the team is going to fire you. So you have a choice. Get what the owner of the team believes is the need for the organization, or lose your job. I believe that's the choice that Reggie McKenzie is faced with. I also believe that was why Ken Norton was fired rather than simply changing places with John Pagano. Because the adjustments the Raiders made were adjustments they could have made a long time ago. And to basically put it all on Ken Norton Jr. when Del Rio himself admitted that he was basically training Ken Norton Jr. to be defensive coordinator is an intellectually dishonest thing to do. It is an intellectually dishonest thing to do. Okay? So, as Raider Nation said, Reggie is a good GM. Pedro Gallardo says Beast Node needs to stay. The Raiders are running the right blocking scheme for his runs. I disagree with that. There should be a Beast Quake soon. We are pretty much almost finished with the season, and we haven't had that. But twice. We had it when the Raiders went to an I formation. And as you might notice, after going to an I formation and being, the one that Zenny was yelling about, you notice that the minute I was like, yeah, the Raiders are using the I formation. Yay, this is great. They stopped using it. Where I made specific videos celebrating Marshawn Lynch out of the I and the Raiders stopped using the I. I mean, you might think that I'm being self-serving. You might think that, but hey, look, you know what? I am told that a lot of people that I don't think pay attention to what I say actually do. But there are also people who don't like what I say, who pay attention to it or hear it from others, and then it's like, okay? And by extension, if you say something and they're paying attention and they hear it on here, you become, a mouthpiece as well, or a comment piece, if you will. But my point is, I can't get that out of my mind. They had the right formation. They had it. They had the I. He scored from half the field out in the I formation, okay? Big April says, we know Todd Downing is gone. Del Rio says he's there, all right? Rick Rice wants to activate Elijah Hood off the practice squad and see what he has. Barry, you're gone. Good night, man. I wish you the best, and be safe around there. Okay, be safe around there in Seguin, Texas, Barry. Akuma says, we didn't stay, got the same, we got worse. And Barry Lee wants a new special teams coach. Raider Nation says Downing should have been gone week 5. But hey, Del Rio says he wants him to stay. Del Rio says he wants him to stay. Pedro Gallardo says we should have ran the I formation to win the game. Yeah. G. Taylor says Amon was a Mark Davis choice. Amari was a Mark Davis choice. He was. He was. Otis B says Todd Downing and Derek Carr are friends. I doubt the Raiders let him go, at least for right now. Rick Rice says we should have all tried all trick plays. I disagree with trying all trick plays without just, without... I'll explain that in a second, Rick Rice, what I mean. Because, let me get right back to that. Nick Z says, according to the rules, that fumble should have been ruled dead at the spot of the fumble. The fumbler is the only person who could advance the ball in that situation. Therefore, it was a bad call. Thanks, Nick Z, for looking that up. So what you're telling me was a bad call. It shouldn't have been advanced, and it should have been a dead ball at the what, 1 inch line or something like that. Create Channel says Downing needs to leave. Big April says if Todd Downing stays, him and Del Rio should be gone. Then him. All right. Enrique says, go Jags. Probably only Jags fan here. There are 47 people, so you never know. I will say, hey, congratulations to the Jaguars. Nick Z says, David Carr pointed that out on Twitter, okay? And Raider Nation says, Holy Roller 2017. Yeah, that's the Holy Roller rule. Or because, Dave Casper, who, at one point handled my 401k, was the person who kicked that ball forward. Again, another famous Raider game. That one occurred in San Diego, not at the Coliseum, but still, famous game. Famous game, okay? And, I got a message from Alameda County Supervisor Nate Miley. I'm going to have to check that one. In fact, you know what, folks? Let me do this. I am going to... We've gone for about 56 minutes, all right? Let me come back here, and I need to take this call. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, folks. Just had to check that call real quick. Now, getting back to your comments. I'm back. I am back. Rick LaFair is here. Patrick M. Blackman is here. Patrick says draft corners. Move Sean Smith to free safety. Rick LaFair says, I like Jay Gruden for new head coach. Huh. That's an interesting idea. And the reason I say is because I think Jay Gruden would be the best thing to happen to Derek Carr. I really do. I think that Jay's willingness to use a combination of traditional Bill Walsh offense with innovations at the college level and his appreciation for precision passing would really elevate, really elevate Derek Carr's game. I really do. So that wouldn't be so bad if that were to happen. Pedro Gallardo says John Green would be nice, but I think he is interested with the Giants. Yeah, that would be, I am not as, how do I say it, in objection with John Gruden coming back as I was a few weeks ago, because I thought maybe the game had passed him by, but then I realized he has to study the game to be an announcer that's pulling in, what, a $30 million contract nationally, and he's a very smart football man. My only concern about Gruden is I wonder that his voice, that hard edge, would rub some players in the modern NFL the wrong way, and maybe they wouldn't quite respond to him. Because that's what happened at Tampa Bay. Tampa needed his counter voice to what they were hearing from Dungy in the previous years, which was nice man, quiet, teacher, and they got the fundamentals, but they needed a cattle prod. And in came John Gruden to be that tool. And propelled them, okay? Really did. So, I have to, have to think about that one. I really have to think about that one. Let me do this. It is, it's 1:11 a.m. And we're gonna have our live stream tomorrow. I'm gonna stop this one mainly because I'm exhausted. And I was up late with my mom. And just want to go down and check and see how she's doing, to be absolutely candid, okay? Hope everybody understands that. I need to take care of, need to see how my mom is doing, all right? Because we've had a rather rough weekend. Hey, Pedro, good luck on your finals. Peace. Sean Grogan says, JDR and McKenzie's seats are getting warm. JDR's Jack Del Rio, I agree. Be back tomorrow. Stay tuned for more. And God bless everybody and thank you all. Happy Hanukkah, in the middle of Hanukkah, and Merry Christmas coming up and everything else. So I will be back tomorrow, 8:30 in the west, 11:30 in the east. Same bat time, basically same bat channel. Where's John Marks to tell me to watch horror movies and keep America strong? We'll be back. Definitely be back. All right, see you all. See you all. Good night. Good night, Pedro. Good night, Black Patrick. Good night, Sean. Good night, everybody. Good night. Be back tomorrow. And sorry to cut the stream short, but just got to take care of family matters. I'll see you all. Okay. All right. Good night and God bless. God bless you all. See ya. See ya.